Reminders app has evolved over the time. And in a nutshell, it's just simply a bunch of lists. But how you manage these lists depends on the content. For example, managing a project which has crucial deadlines is very, very different from a simple shopping list that's got items that you might reuse on a regular basis. So how you manage these lists is very dependent on the nature of the content of the list. And Reminders supports all of these. Since it's cloud-based and it shares its content with all of your devices, and it links to the mobile version, it's not only aware of the date and time that it would pick up from your computer, but it also can be aware of your location. It can alert you not just by date and time, but also when you arrive or leave somewhere, or when you pass within a certain radius of somewhere, or even when you get in and out of your car based on whether your phone connects to the Bluetooth on your car. So without further ado, let's get into Reminders. Okay, so this is your interface. I'm going to be spending most of the time on the Mac. I will go over to the iPhone for one or two instances just to show you some differences, but we'll primarily work on the Mac. So basically, you have lists. You can have as many lists as you want. The first time you open up Reminders, there's a single list called Reminder, which you can rename, but you can make as many lists as you need to manage. Not only can you make lists that are on iCloud, you can also make lists that are on other services. So if you've got, in our case, we have an Exchange account with DigiCape. So if I wanted to have reminders that are being put into Microsoft Outlook or Teams or any of that sort of stuff appear in a centralized location, I can do that. I've shown that before, but for those of you who weren't in any of those sessions, if you go to your system preferences and you click on your internet accounts, I'm going to click on my Exchange account, for example, and cancel that. You can see I've got reminders checked. If I have it unchecked, this will disappear. So let's have a look. So we've got a number of places where I can create my lists. And if I want to make a new list, all I do is click plus, and I've got a new list that I can make. So pretty simple to create lists, and we'll get back to this shortly. We'll just delete this for the moment. So as well as my lists, which are full of items, so I've got my inbox. I renamed my my reminders list inbox because it makes it very easy for me. I keep inboxes in all my different applications like Mail, like Evernote, like Notes, so that I know this is the place where I have to go and triage my information and put it into other lists. I've got a shared shopping list that I share with the family. If we've got to get something from the chemist, if I need to go to Builder's Warehouse. I also have a list of movies that I want to watch, of books that I've seen on the internet, of music that I've heard that I might want to revisit. There's personal to-dos, there's work to-dos, DigiCape to-dos. This is a legacy. I really should only have one, but you can see I've got multiple to-dos. Now, to kind of give us a very simple overview of all of our information in all of our lists, instead of having to go from list to list to list to see what's not being done, there are 4 smart summaries, if you like. The first one is today, and this will show you stuff that you're due to do today. The scheduled one will show you stuff that's scheduled to be done, and it'll give you the date against it. This will show you all your undone lists. And you can also, if something's especially important, you can flag it and it'll appear inside these lists. If we look at our lists, you can see the number that's associated with it on the right-hand side is the number of undone or incomplete tasks that are inside that list. The little person that you see over there is the share icon that lets me know that this list is shared with somebody, as is this one, as is this one, as is this one. So we have the ability to share our lists with other people as well. So let's move into how we create reminders. Number of ways of creating reminders. We can add a reminder into the appropriate list. So if I wanted to add something to my inbox, I could just select it, click plus, and now I've got something that I can add in here. So do the dishes. And I've just added this to my inbox list. Quite simple as that. I can also get information into my reminders from apps. So if I'm in notes, for example, and I've got a note that I want to remind myself to read, I can go to my share sheet, and I've got reminders here. And if I click on reminders, I get the share sheet over here. And it says, well, where do I want to add this list to? Now, this list is a default list. And I can adjust that by going to my preferences in reminders and choosing what the default list is. Okay? And it shows me all the lists that I've got both on my iCloud and in my Exchange. So I'm just going to leave that on work to-dos at the moment. So if I go back to this one over here, I can choose, I can change the list. So let's say put it into the inbox. And if I click add, you saw how quickly that went in. That went straight into my inbox over here. Not only that, but it has a deep link back to the source. So if this is quit or hidden, I'll just hide this in the background, and I come to this and I want to see it, I just click on there and it opens up my notes for me, takes me straight into the list. In addition, if I'm in Safari, let's launch Safari. And I'm reading something on a web page. Let's go to Digicate. And I want to share this. I can click on the share sheet. And once again, I can go to reminders. Exactly the same thing. I'm going to move this to my inbox. Click add. And if I hide this, you can see that I've got a link to the page, and I can set various criteria about when I want to be reminded about this. Now, some apps don't necessarily have a share sheet button. For example, Mail is one of those, which on the surface of it is quite frustrating. But if I wanted to share something that was inside here, there is no share sheet. The only way I can share something is by mailing it or forwarding it. But there is a technique. If I click on the subject over here and I right click, I'll get share. And now I can add this to reminders. And you can see it has the deep link to the mail message. If I click once again, I'll use my inbox. I'll use my inbox and click add. If we hide this, you can see once again, it's got a deep link back to that mail. So even some apps that don't necessarily support the reminders app, you can still get in there and share it. We can also share via Siri. So I'm just going to link my phone. And now we know that when we're Zooming, we don't have the ability to use Siri on the phone because Zoom tends to intercept the audio. But one of the things that I wanted to show you is that if you go to reminders on your phone, you can set a different default inbox. So it's not global necessarily. So if you're creating lists and you want to have it automatically set into a particular box on your phone, which is different from your Mac, you absolutely can do that. So if I go to my settings and I go to reminders, you'll see I've got default list, and my default list is work to-dos, but I could set it to inbox, and that stays separate for this one. So I can have my work list on my Mac. I can have a personal list on my phone. I can have a separate one on my iPad. I can set these up the way I want to. So I'm going to unshare this because otherwise what I'm about to do won't work. So we can use Siri to add things to my list. So I'm going to activate Siri on my phone. Remind me to buy cat food. Okay, it says it's done, and iPhone is, the cloud is about to synchronize it. Since I've made it, there we go, made it my default inbox. You can see buy cat food is now automatically added to my list. And I can do the same thing on my watch. Remind me to make coffee. And Siri is going to start working on my watch, and it's going to add stuff to my inbox. So, don't think that you necessarily have to be at your device in order to add the reminder. Siri is incredibly powerful. There we go. Make coffee. There's my reminder. So this is our initial how to make items in our lists. Let's have a look at lists in a little bit more detail. One of the things that we can do is that we can actually change the color and change the icons over here to reflect what it's doing. Because by default, you get this little 3 list item. And it works differently depending on where you click. So if I double click on the icon, I can rename this. I can also change the color, and I can also change the icon. So if I wanted to have this more of like an in basket, but now let me make it a slightly different color so it's differentiated. Let's make it black or dark gray. And now the icon has changed to something slightly different. If I double click anywhere on the word over here, I can actually open up that list as a separate window. So I'm not constrained to this monolithic single window. I could double click on household and I can have multiple windows open. So I can split apart my lists, and I can drag and drop, I can copy and paste. I'm not restricted to a single window. And then also, if I hover across it, you see I get the share icon. If I click on this, it will ask me if I want to share this and who I want to share it with, and so on. So very, very powerful way of adding people to your lists, changing the name, changing the colors. One final thing, if you are as kind of profligate as me and you've got lists upon lists upon lists, you can actually group them together. And this is a new thing with iOS 13. I can either go to File and make a new group, and there's my group. I can give it a name, shopping, and now I can just select these guys and drag them down. If I can scroll down enough, add them to shopping, and now, oh, it only took the one. Sorry, I'm being a little bit clumsy over here, but you get the picture. You can add things. You can move them up and down the list. But the other thing that you can do is, if I take this out of the list, let's just move this up here. Just take out the list and delete this group. The quicker way of doing it is just to take this and drag items one on top of the other. So if I add these two together, it creates a group with my items inside there, and then I can just go in and rename them. So now I can use the disclosure triangle to hide and show the list. So if I've got long lists of items, I can break them down into smaller items. Okay, so let's have a look at some simple lists. We've seen how we can add to it. We can see how we can make new lists or previous lists. This is a simple list which doesn't have an expiry date. You know, the items don't have deadlines. I just need to know that when I go shopping, I've got items that are inside my shopping list. And if I right click on one of these, if I tap on this, it marks it as done. If I right click on it, I have two options. I can mark it as completed, or I can delete it. Now, why would I necessarily have two of those? The issue is that sometimes I have lists that I might want to share again. I might want to use them again. I've got a shopping list. I don't want to have to type in every week, I need to buy milk. And if I mark something as done, then I could undo it. So if I scroll down slightly, you can see my shared shopping list has 427 completed items, but I'm only seeing 6 items that haven't been completed. So if I click show, it shows me all the items that are incomplete. Okay. Now, I can go to my 427 items. If I've got to find it, it's a bit of a schlep. So I can make it a little bit easier. I can say sort by title. And now they're still grouped by complete and incomplete, but now they're sorted alphabetically with numbers first. But even so, this is a bit of a pain because I have to have milk. Okay, let's scroll down to M's. Oh, gone past M's. Okay, there's milk. Mark it as undone, right? Now it's added back to my list. But there's another way of doing it. So I'm going to hide the completed items. And if I click search, let me just mark milk as done. And now it's disappeared from my list. If I type milk, it finds every instance of milk, and it also finds, so over here, this is about a coffee course, so the word milk must be in there somewhere, but I've got milk. Okay, fine, want to click milk. Now, if I go back to my shared shopping list, milk has been added to my list, right? And if I go to my phone, my shared shopping list is there. And this will stay there because it's shared with my wife and my son. They will be able to actually add things to the list even when I'm at the shop. And it'll update the minute they put something in there, to the extent that my wife has been adding items into the shared shopping list while I'm at the checkout counter. At which point my shared shopping list is turned into a messaging app where I write in there as a new item, "Are you kidding me?" Right? I am in the checkout counter. So it can be more than just a list. It could be a messaging application. Anyway, let's move into more complex reminders, because these are just simple things that I want to mark as done or undone. Let's go into maybe some work to dos over here. And here I've got some items that I need to schedule. So if I wanted to add an item to here, I could click over here, and you see over at the bottom, we've got a couple of flags. So let's just type, say, do expenses. Right now, there's some quick buttons. If I click add date, I get some suggestions: today, tomorrow, this weekend, or I can go custom and get a date picker. But once I add today, I get the option to add a time. So let's say, let's do it tonight at 6 p.m. I can also add location, and I can also flag it. And if I click flag, you'll see that the flagged icon, once I enter it, this will update and show me I now have an urgent flagged item. But this is one way of doing it. But if I also create an item over here, I can click on this, and I can expose a wider range of options that I can do. So once again, we've got on a day and at a time. So let's say, for example, I want this to be done on a particular day at a particular time. I can do that. But what happens if this is something that I want to repeat? Okay, so I can do it today, but then I want this to repeat every month. Okay, and finish it on never or at the end of the year. Well, that's quite nice, because I can say, okay, I want to do this every month. But what if I want that to be the first Monday of every month? If I choose the first of every month, maybe that falls on a Sunday and it's not something that I want to action. So if I go to my repeat, I can choose custom. And now I can say, I want this to repeat on the first Tuesday of every month. So now it's not locked to a date, it's locked to a specific day. So if we go training in the forest on the first Tuesday of every month, bang, it's there first Tuesday of every month, which is very, very useful. Okay. There are other ways of doing this, because it also has a natural language parser. So if I wanted to say, do my expenses tonight, I can write that in, do my expenses tonight. Okay, and you see it pops up with a suggested time, 9 o'clock. But I can say at 8 p.m. and it's automatically done it, set it up for 8 p.m. I can just choose that, and now it's set it up with the appropriate date and time. Okay. Now we can do other things. We can set things for locations. So let's say, for example, I want to do something when I go past the vet. So I can say buy cat food. If I click on the info and I click on at a location, if I click at a location, there's a couple of things that pop up automatically. Firstly, it picks up your current location. Then if you've set up a work and a home on your contacts in your contacts app, it will take them. But you also have the option to, when you're getting in a car or out of a car, so if you've got your phone paired with your car, then you can set up things like, would you please remember to get petrol? But when I get in the car, this is a really, really nice way of sorting that out. So we've got locations over here. So that's really nice. But I can also say something like, let's see, do my expenses when I arrive at home. And you can see it pops up my location. So I can say, okay, arriving at home. And now it's set up my location at home. Now, once I've got a location set, I can actually adjust the radius. So I can say, because maybe I've got a friend who lives at the other block and I don't want to be alerted to there. I can increase or decrease the radius of where this activity is going to take place. Finally, if I wanted to flag that item, once again, I can just click on the flag and shortly it will update. There we go, flagged by cat food. So quite a few things that we can do. Oh, the other one, which is really, really nice, is let's just do one new one. Inbox, let's do it. I can say list for my wife. And if I click on here, I can also say when messaging a person. And have you ever had the situation where you wanted to remember to do something with somebody, for somebody, but when you actually do that activity, you're finished with it and you go, oh gosh, I meant to do that. So I can add the contact. I'm going to click add contact and I'm going to say Andrea. And there she is. And now when I'm messaging that person, I can add stuff to my notes. I hope you get this. Okay, all done. And now this is attached to a message. So if I go to my messages and I tap on her and say, hi there, I'm in a demo, and hit return, shortly, now I've turned off my notifications in the top right-hand corner because I was hoping not to get disturbed, but I will get a notification that pops onto the screen and says, you are being reminded of this because you're messaging that person. And hopefully by the time they respond to your message, you'll be able to open up that list and look at the things that are reminding you with. So those are 4 of the things that actually add value to the reminders: location, time, date, and the ability to message people. And that really comes to the end of the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hopefully you'll have some questions for me. Michael.
Yeah, I did the right. I'm going to have to watch again because I got sidetracked on my phone. I suddenly found a feature I didn't even know existed. So I was watching you and then watching my phone. But I'm not going to be using my laptop, but I certainly will be using my phone.
Right.
So most of what we learned about today was for the laptop. But am I to understand that I can really be using my phone with the same features?
Absolutely. Look, Siri is great. Look, and if you guys don't mind, I'm happy to extend this, but I'm happy to show you some of the iOS side of it. Let me just, share my screen. Okay, you see my screen there?
Yep.
Great. Right. So if I go into reminders here, firstly, you've got Siri, which won't work now because I'm sharing my screen. But if I wanted to add a list, I've got my lists here, bottom right-hand corner. I tap add list, and it's actually even simpler to customize it because before you even make your list, it gives you the option to choose your settings. Let's call this Mike's list. Done. So now you've got a new list called Mike's list. No, it's called new list. Why didn't it save? Sorry, I'm doing this in a hurry. Let's go to general over here. So if I'm in general, I can add a new reminder. What's nice about this, if I tap new reminder, I can tap on the sidebar over here, and I've got all of those activities with notes, URL, remind me on a day, remind me at a location, remind me when messaging, but I've also got these little shortcuts. If you see at the bottom, I tap on the clock, I can get today, tomorrow, this weekend, or the same custom options, right? I can tap on the location when I'm arriving home, when I'm getting into the car, or once again, a custom location. Then we've also got a flagged item. And one thing I didn't show you on the on the Mac side is you can add an image as well. So if you're not sure what cat food to buy, I can say add an image, and I can take a photo from my phone. I can add photos. But if I go to the buy cat food in my inbox over here, which has moved down because I've been messing around with my order on the other one, inbox, buy cat food, I can take a photograph, scan a document, or come from my photo library. So if I take a photo, imagine, if you will, this is some cat food. I take a photo, say use photo, and it adds it to the activity. You can see there's cat food over there. And if I tap on that, there's my photo. And if we go, iCloud will sync this, and there will be the image will appear here as well once it's uploaded to the cloud and come down. So lots of things you can do there. If you wanted to make groups in here, so if I wanted to say group my movies, books, and music together as sort of cultural activities, I can just drag them into each other. I'll just say culture. And you can see it's included one item, but I can add more. So I said music, movies, music, and create. And now I've got a culture group with movies, books, and music in the bottom. And then I can go to my movies. I can access them, tap get info, and do all sorts of more stuff with it. The phone is super, super powerful. Personally, I use Siri to do almost all of my stuff because it is so good at passing my language to remind me to. So for example, if I say remind me to do to make some coffee tomorrow, it will give me a reminder set for 9 p.m. If I say remind me to make some coffee tomorrow morning, it will set it for 7 p.m. 7 a.m. If I say remind me to make coffee for lunch, it'll make it for 12. And if it'll say tomorrow evening, it'll set it for 6 o'clock. So there's a lot of natural language passing that it's doing, which will help you. And when I'm driving, literally, I either use Siri or my hand's on the wheel. I press the crown on my watch, and I just use Siri on my watch to add a to-do.
When you were linking your reminders to Safari, it actually took the text from the Safari. Can you just put the URL in there?
You could, if you could copy the URL and paste it into the URL field that's inside Safari.
And then
that's inside the reminders info panel. You could do that. That's one way.
And then when I'm in reminders, I can then just click on the URL and go straight to that page. Okay.
You can. Although it's an extra step that you have to do because you have to copy and paste. If you click the share sheet, it just gives you a little reminder of what that URL is. It's not going to take much space up. Okay. Is there a particular reason why you don't want the text there?
No, it was just pure question.
Yeah, I don't think it just took the first couple of words. It gave you the DigiCape one. It just gave you a little button that had the items inside there. The one where it showed all the text was the notes when I shared from notes.
Okay.
That took the entire notes and put it in there.
Okay. Yeah. On your shopping list, if you say you've got a list of things for like the chemist.
Yep.
Is there any way of, within that list, grouping items together? So you can say, this is the hair products area of the chemist?
Absolutely. And if you're on your phone, it works the same way as I showed you if you're grouping lists together. You drag them on top of each other, right? So if you drag two items shall I show you on the Mac? But here's it, I'm in Amazon or somewhere and I read a review of a book that I want to read. But now I want to group these by topic, for example. So if I add an item over here, I'll say science fiction. And there we go. We've got science fiction at the bottom of the list. Now I'm just going to take the sci-fi one and I'm just going to drag it up a little bit to make it a little easier for you guys to see. And now I've lost it. Science fiction, there we go, over here. So now this is a science fiction book. I want to group it in this category. It's a couple of ways of doing it. One of the ways is I can right click and I indent it. And now that becomes a subcategory of science fiction. So if we look down over here, you see this one has got a subcategory. Now, I don't know if this is a bug or not, but if I click, oh no, it's opening. When I was demoing it, when I was trying it earlier, I was clicking on this and it wasn't opening and it wasn't closing. And the way I got around it was I was opening up books as a separate window. And then when I viewed it over here, it kind of triggered the activity over there. So that's one science fiction book. Let me take another one. Let's see, let's take this one. And if I click and drag that one, I'll be able to drag that. Where's my science fiction gone? My lists are far too long. There we go, science fiction. If I drag it in there, I now have a subcategory. So that's 2 that are in science fiction. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Going one step further, can you have a subcategory?
A subcategory? I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think you can only go 1 level deep.
Oh, no, wait. This is very funny.
Yeah, no, there's only one. So if you right click on that, instead of indenting, it becomes outdent. Yeah, so just one at a time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys. It's been lovely having you here. I hope you learned something and look forward to seeing you again.